Welcome to the Playing Books podcast. Today we're doing a deep dive into a classic Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking.
Right. A book it's been incredibly influential for decades.
Absolutely. It's just packed with techniques, examples, all aimed at helping you find, peace of mind, better health, more energy.
And we're not just summarizing here. We're really trying to pull out the most practical insights for you, the listener.
Exactly. What can you actually use? What are the core ideas? So let's jump right in with chapter 1, which is all about believing in yourself.
Yeah. Peale sees self-confidence as absolutely fundamental, not just nice, but necessary for success and happiness.
He contrasts that with the inferiority complex, which he says can really hold people back. But crucially, he believes you can overcome it.
Definitely. And he kicks things off with that story, right? The businessman.
Oh, yeah, the one facing a huge deal, just crippled by self-doubt. Peale gives him that initial formula.
Philippians 4.13. I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me.
And the impact, Peale says, was immediate. It's such a direct approach.
It really is. No complex psychoanalysis right then, just a powerful affirmation based on faith. It suggests even small shifts can start the change.
Peale also digs into where these feelings come from. Childhood stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like him being skinny or a preacher's son. Things that made him feel different.
Exactly. And he makes a great point. Failing at school doesn't mean you fail at life.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally. It's like those past labels don't have to define your future potential.
Right. So his main fix for inferiority is, well, it's about filling your mind with faith. Faith in God, faith in yourself.
Through prayer, right. He mentions deep prayers. What do you think he means by that exactly?
I think it's more than just reciting words. It's about really connecting a more focused, intense kind of prayer and reflection.
Makes sense. And then he lays out those 10 suggestions for building confidence.
Yeah, very practical steps like mentally picturing success, voicing positive thoughts out loud.
It's all about actively changing that internal script.
And they're actionable, not just vague ideas, things you can actually do.
Then there's that quote from Dr. Carl Menninger, attitudes are more important than facts. That really sticks with you.
It's huge, isn't it? How we frame the facts often matters more than the facts themselves. Our perspective shapes everything.
He even mentions a vacuum cleaner method. Sounds a bit odd.
Yeah, maybe the name is. But the idea seems to be about using questions to gently pull someone away from negative thinking, not literally sucking it out, more like skillful conversation.
Got it. And the simple affirmation, God is with me. He sees that as a real confidence builder.
It tapped into that need for support, for security. Believing you're not alone can be incredibly grounding.
He sprinkles in those great quotes too. Emerson, they conquer who believe they can.
And Stonewall Jackson, never take counsel of your fears. Little nuggets of wisdom.
You really reinforce the main message. And he suggests actually underlining Bible verses about courage. That's quite proactive.
Yeah, immersing yourself in those messages. He tells a story about someone going from cringing hopelessness to real strength doing just that.
So chapter 1 really boils down to confidence is built. It's not just innate. It takes belief, faith, and these kinds of practical mental exercises.
Precisely. Consciously choosing what you focus on and reinforcing it.
Okay, so moving on from self-belief, chapter 2 tackles a peaceful mind. He presents it as a choice, doesn't he?
Yeah, an ear full of trouble or a mind full of peace. It puts the responsibility on us.
And the key is changing your mental attitude. That story about the important guy backstage finding peace through a quick prayer over the phone.
It shows how accessible it can be. Prayer isn't just for quiet chapels. It can be immediate help.
And that physician's prescription, Romans 12.2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Right back to actively reshaping your thoughts. The doctor saw the mind's role in well-being.
Peale really pushes this idea of mental catharsis, emptying the mind.
The S.S. Lurline example. Imagining dropping worries overboard. It's a simple but powerful visual.
It makes letting go feel more, tangible.
But importantly, he says you can't just leave it empty. You have to refill it.
With creative and healthy thoughts, otherwise the negativity just floods back in, like weeding and then planting good seeds.
Exactly. It's a two-step process. Empty out the bad, fill up with the good.
He talks about using scripture, peaceful quotes, even from mystics, as that positive input.
Surrounding yourself intentionally with calming and hopeful messages.
And he contrasts the anxious salesman relying on pills with the power of finding inner peace.
Yeah, suggesting that internal solutions, like peace cultivated through faith, might be more effective long-term than just external fixes.
And that story about the man burdened by guilt, finding healing through prayer and forgiveness. It really shows the emotional weight we carry.
It powerfully illustrates how things like guilt can weigh us down and how spiritual practices like forgiveness can be incredibly liberating.
Okay, chapter 3, how to have constant energy. He connects harmony and vitality right away. George Washington Carver is his example.
Yeah, Carver, the brilliant scientist. Peale presents him as someone in tune with the infinite, which unlocked this amazing capacity for work and peace, a synergy between spirit and energy.
And he warns about those energy vampires, fear, resentment, inner conflicts.
Makes total sense. Stress is exhausting, right? Negative emotions drain your batteries.
He even uses John 10:10 about having life more abundantly. So vitality isn't just about not being tired, it's about a richer life.
Right. It frames energy as part of a deeper spiritual fullness.
He also cautions against living at too high a tempo. That hits home today, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The idea that slowing down might actually increase sustainable energy feels counterintuitive, but probably true for many of us.
And that story of the man whose energy was blocked by psychological stuff, healed through prayer. It really highlights the mind-body link.
It suggests deep-seated mental or emotional issues can manifest physically, and sometimes spiritual approaches can reach places other methods don't.
And the professor feeling stale, regaining energy through faith and peace, shows it applies to mental energy too.
Yeah, burnout isn't just physical. Reconnecting spiritually can apparently reignite that drive and passion.
All right, chapter 4. Try prayer power.
Mm.
He gets very direct here.
Yeah, back to that businessman. And the advice is simply, why not try prayer power? It's positioned as a practical tool.
For business problems too, that might surprise some people.
He really bridges that gap. Prayer isn't just personal, it's for guidance in all areas, work included.
And his 3 steps for creative prayer. Prayerize, picturize, actualize. Can you unpack those?
Sure. Prayerize is praying deeply, sincerely about the specific thing. Picturize is vividly imagining the positive outcome you want. Really see it.
Okay.
And actualize is, well, acting. Taking steps towards the goal, working hard, but doing it with faith and trust that it's unfolding.
So it's not passive waiting. It's faith combined with action.
Exactly. And he tells that story about the woman's marriage being restored through prayer.
A powerful example of applying it to relationships.
Then there's the anecdote about the cynical guy at dinner.
Well, yeah, impressed by the sheer happiness and, workability of the religious people he met.
It suggests seeing faith in action, seeing the positive results, can be really compelling.
He even says someone disliked him initially, but felt an emanation of prayer power. That's a bold claim about unseen influence.
It is. It speaks to his belief that our inner state, our prayers, can radiate outwards and affect others, even subtly.
And the analogy of the brain having 2 billion little storage batteries, sending power through thoughts and prayer.
It's Peale trying to make it relatable, using a sort of scientific-sounding metaphor for the mind's potential when focused through faith, not literal science, but an illustration.
And that story about intercessory prayer helping the alcoholic in Boston suggests praying for others matters.
Right, the idea that our prayers can support and strengthen others, even from afar.
Okay, moving into happiness. Chapter 5. How to create your own happiness. He hits us with that stat first.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 people are not so happy as they can be. Kind of sobering. Suggests a lot of us are living below our potential for well-being.
But his message is hopeful. Happiness isn't luck. It's something you can learn and create.
That's central to his whole philosophy. We have agency over our emotional state through conscious effort in applying these principles.
He says we can manufacture unhappiness with negative thoughts. The complaining woman on the train is such a vivid picture of that.
Oh, totally. You can just feel the negativity radiating off her, poisoning her own experience and everyone else's.
And the fix. Change your thinking. Simple to say.
Huh. Yeah, harder to do consistently. It takes real discipline to break those ingrained negative loops.
But he gives positive examples too. The cheerful guy shaving on the train.
Shows how even small displays of positivity can be contagious, lift others up.
And the red cap at Grand Central, spreading love with his attitude. It's about actively putting joy out there.
Yeah, expressing it outwardly, making it an active part of how you interact with the world.
He shares H.C. Mattern's Way to Happiness card. Principles like keep your heart free from hate, mind from worry, live simply, expect little, give much.
It's a great little summary. And Peale challenges us, the listeners, right? Try it for a week.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
See what happens. What stands out to you from Mattern's list?
I mean, They're all solid, but expect little, give much is interesting. It seems counterintuitive, maybe, but focusing on giving rather than getting could shift perspective. The challenge to try it is great, makes it active for you listening.
But Peale insists these principles need spiritual backup. It's not just positive thinking in a vacuum.
Right. For him, that connection to a higher power provides the underlying strength to sustain happiness.
He talks about seeing more genuinely happy people through spiritual change.
Yeah.
The party story.
Yeah, filled with joyful people. No alcohol needed, just connection through shared faith. It paints a picture of a different kind of deep joy.
He quotes John 1.4, "In him was life, and the life was the light of men," connecting that inner light to the divine source.
Reinforces that idea. And the businessman with the depressed thought pattern helped by that little book of affirmations.
Thoughts conditioners, he called it, like mental nutrition, feeding your mind good stuff consistently.
Exactly. Shows the power of repeated positive input.
And the prayer meeting where people felt healed, saying Jesus did it, that really highlights his strong faith perspective.
Absolutely. It centers personal spiritual experience as the ultimate source of healing and joy in his view.
So for Peale, the ultimate secret to happiness is that personal spiritual connection.
That's the core, a direct relationship with God as he understands it.
Okay, let's shift gears to chapter 6. Stop fuming and fretting. How does he define those?
He basically says that they're wasteful emotional states that drain your energy and power. Fuming is like internal boiling, fretting is anxious worry.
And he pulls out Psalm 37.1 again. Fret not thyself. Timeless advice.
A direct command to let go of that anxiety.
He urges us to slow down, reduce the pace of life, the tempo of our thoughts. Definitely relevant advice.
Hugely relevant. In our always-on world, deliberately slowing down mentally and physically is a real challenge, but probably essential for peace.
He uses that lovely Lao Tse quote, "Muddied water, let stand, will become clear."
Such a great image. Sometimes just letting the mental dust settle is the best approach.
And the quirky prescription from the doctor, walks and cemetery visits.
Huh. Yeah, a bit unusual. But the idea is perspective, right? Connecting with nature, contemplating the bigger picture, maybe makes current worries seem smaller.
Peale shares his own story too. Feeling stressed before a speech, stopping to read Psalm 121 and pray in his hotel room.
It shows him practicing what he preaches, using his own tools under pressure. Makes it feel more real.
He talks about developing a calm philosophy of living, like a default peaceful setting.
Yeah, a foundational approach, so you're not constantly reacting emotionally, but responding from a place of inner calm.
He offers more verses for peace. John 14.27, Isaiah 26.3. Anchors for the mind.
Powerful affirmations to focus on divine peace and cultivate that inner stillness.
And the story of the agitated visitor finding calm just by reciting those verses and believing in that physician with the healing touch.
Shows the immediate potential impact of engaging with scripture and faith in a moment of distress.
He suggests church, prayer, spiritual reading as ways to cultivate this calm philosophy, actively seeking peace-promoting resources.
Right, nurturing that inner state through consistent practice and supportive community.
Okay, chapter 7, expect the best and get it. This is pure positive expectation.
Exactly. He argues our expectations literally shape our reality. Expect good things, and you're more likely to attract them. A self-fulfilling prophecy, almost.
The businessman who struck up a partnership with God and turned his business around.
It's about actively aligning yourself with that higher power, expecting positive collaboration.
He quotes William James too. Our belief at the beginning of a doubtful undertaking is the one thing that ensures the successful outcome.
Powerful stuff suggests that initial belief acts like a catalyst, setting things in motion for success.
He talks about this expectation having a magnetic force. Have you ever felt that? Like positive thinking attracts positive outcomes.
Well, I think a positive mindset definitely influences your actions, your resilience. You're more likely to try harder, notice opportunities, bounce back from setbacks if you expect things to work out eventually. So maybe it's less magic, more motivation.
That makes sense.
Yes.
He also says, be specific. Ye shall say to this mountain, focus your faith.
Yeah, clear intention. Not just vague hoping, but directing your belief towards a specific goal.
His process. Check if you should want it, then ask God specifically, without doubt. Very intentional.
It combines self-reflection, alignment with perceived divine will, and unwavering belief. Active faith in action.
That Midwestern businessman who tested it and got an 85% success rate, it's anecdotal but still makes you think.
It does. It suggests maybe there's a practical effectiveness to this beyond just wishful thinking.
But he admits it takes practice, like any skill.
Absolutely. Overcoming lifelong habits of doubt requires conscious, repeated effort, exercising that mental muscle.
He suggests daily affirmations. I believe God gives me power, and I expect the best, reinforcing that positive narrative.
Programming your mind day by day to align with those desired outcomes.
The Amos Parrish story is inspiring to success despite a stutter, through courage and positive thinking.
A great example of overcoming significant obstacles through sheer mindset and belief.
And that folk wisdom. Go around trouble, under it, over it, or plow through it with God. Such resilience.
It really captures that proactive, faith-fueled perseverance. Don't give up, find a way, rely on support.
He circles back to Philippians 4.13 and influencing the subconscious. It's a cornerstone for him.
Reinforcing that core affirmation for building strength and the idea that consistent, positive input changes us from the inside out.
Let's look at Chapter 8. I don't believe in defeat. The title says it all, really.
Yeah, it's about mentally rejecting failure as an option, cultivating an absolutely unyielding mindset towards your goals.
The sales manager regaining creative power through faith.
Shows how belief can break through mental blocks, reignite potential by refusing to accept defeat.
And visualizing success. The boy acing exams after visualizing it. The power of mental rehearsal.
A concrete example of how mental imagery plus belief can directly impact performance.
The traveling salesman turning his luck around with that simple 3-sentence prayer before calls.
Highlights how even brief, consistent spiritual practice can influence outcomes, perhaps by changing his own confidence and approach.
And the worry basket ritual.
A tangible way to symbolically hand over anxieties, trusting a higher power. It's about letting go mentally.
And the chapter ends with that powerful declaration, I don't believe in defeat, meant to be internalized.
Exactly, a mantra for resilience.
Chapter 9, how to break the worry habit. He calls worry a habit, which implies it can be changed.
That's key. Framing it as a learned habit, not a fixed trait, gives you power. You can unlearn it, replace it.
He takes worry seriously, though. Great modern plague, subtle and destructive disease.
He really emphasizes its negative impact, mentally and physically. It's not trivial.
He even links it to physical issues like arthritis. That mind-body connection again.
A stark reminder that our mental state directly impacts our physical health.
He mentions Dr. Blanton's worry clinic. Shows it was a recognized issue needing focused help even then.
Yeah, not a new problem, clearly.
The story of the woman using the I believe technique and seeing family changes.
Another example of how shifting your own core beliefs and affirmations can ripple outwards into relationships and circumstances.
And Harold Chandler Christie, the artist, his anti-worry techniques focused on cultivating joy.
Suggests that actively fostering positive emotions is a powerful antidote to worry. Fill your mind with joy, less room for anxiety.
And the businessman's ritual with the calendar and wastebasket, dropping the day's worries.
A practical, symbolic way to create closure, prevent worries from piling up day after day, compartmentalizing.
Okay, Chapter 10, the power of God. This feels like a core chapter.
Definitely. It emphasizes the constant availability of divine help and power, a comforting idea.
He stresses practicing the awareness of God's presence, making it real, like a companion.
Moving it from an abstract concept to a felt reality in daily life.
The businessman who effected a merger with God to save his business. That's quite a metaphor.
It really is. It captures that idea of complete surrender, trust, letting faith guide every decision.
And the story of Maurice and Mary Alice Flint overcoming huge obstacles through faith.
A powerful real-world example of faith providing resilience and leading to transformation in seemingly hopeless situations.
Chapter 11 is how to use faith in healing, connecting emotions and physical health.
Yeah, exploring that mind-body link, which, as you said, science is increasingly validating now. Our inner state impacts physical well-being.
He quotes doctors like Wolfe and Smith on the emotional roots of illness, worry, fear, hate, guilt.
It adds medical weight to his point. These negative states aren't just unpleasant, they can contribute to actual physical problems.
Dr. Beard's conclusion. The answer is in the healing teachings of Jesus. Very faith-specific.
Reflects Peale's framework. For him, those spiritual principles are key to holistic healing.
The female physician finding relief herself through Christian principles and sharing it with patients.
That's a strong anecdote, a medical professional seeing the value of faith alongside traditional treatment. based on her own experience.
And the emphasis on releasing negative emotions, cultivating joy as a healing force.
It's proactive. We can participate in our healing by managing our emotional landscape, letting go of the negative, embracing the positive.
Chapter 12, When Vitality Sags. Try this health formula. He calls it psychosomatic medicine. Prayer, faith, spiritual thinking.
A holistic approach, right. Addressing the mental and spiritual roots of low energy, not just the physical symptoms.
He repeats that high percentage of illnesses linked to mental states, really driving home the mind's influence.
Underscores the need to care for our mental health as part of our overall physical health strategy.
The sales manager, regaining energy and creativity through this spiritual emotional approach.
Another example of tackling the inner world, leading to tangible outer results, more energy, better performance.
And the businessman finding strength just by reading Psalm 27.1 and shifting his thinking from negative to positive.
Shows the power of specific scripture combined with a conscious decision to change your mental focus. Small inputs, big changes potentially.
He concludes, we can think our way to failure or success. It's about mastering that internal world.
That's the essence of the whole book, really. Our thoughts create our reality, so choose them wisely.
Chapter 13, How to Get Your Prayers Answered. Focuses on definite, persistent prayer.
Not just vague wishing, but clear intention and sticking with it.
The story of praying for a parking space might seem small.
But for Peale, it illustrated that specific focused prayer could work even for everyday things, no request too small.
He also stresses praying for others, looking beyond ourselves.
Emphasizing empathy, compassion, intercessory prayer as a vital part of spiritual practice.
His own experience with Guidepost magazine, Trusting God, visualizing success.
A practical application of his principles, prayer, positive expectation, visualization leading to resolution.
And that 5-step technique from the successful man. Analyze, pray, picture, seek guidance, then give it your all.
A great blend. Mental work, spiritual seeking, visualization, ethical check, what's the right thing, and then diligent effort. Very comprehensive.
Chapter 14, How to Create New Thoughts. Back to the power of changing your thinking.
Reinforcing that core message, we can transform our lives by transforming our thoughts. We have that ability.
He gives 7 practical steps. Speaking hopefully, memorizing scripture, acting as if.
A really concrete roadmap. If you want to change your thinking, here are things you can actually do every day.
He talks about mental and spiritual house cleaning, clearing out the negative, cultivating the positive.
Great analogy. Ongoing maintenance is required to keep that inner environment healthy.
Dr. Berkovitz working relaxed and praying under pressure.
A real-life example of integrating faith and calm right into the middle of a demanding workflow.
Okay, nearly there. Chapter 15, How to Get People to Like You. Acknowledges that basic human need.
Yeah, we all want connection, appreciation. It's fundamental.
But he distinguishes between trying too hard and just naturally attracting people. Authenticity matters.
Right. Genuine likability comes from who you are, your positive qualities, your interest in others, not from manipulation.
And he's realistic, you can't please everyone. The Dr. Fell quote.
Healthy realism. Accept that not everyone will click with you. Be yourself.
His techniques are simple. Be comfortable. Be interested in others. Make them feel important. Timeless advice.
Focus on the other person. Show genuine interest. Value them. That naturally fosters positive feelings.
James A. Farley is an example of someone great at that.
Shows the power of sincerely caring about people, making them feel seen.
He stresses building people up, not tearing them down, being mindful of egos.
Offer encouragement, appreciation. It strengthens relationships. Deflating remarks just damage them.
Dr. Hoffman influencing people just by believing in them.
It shows how our positive regard for others can actually empower them and draw them towards us.
And ending with the power of unselfish kindness, giving without expectation.
Builds goodwill, connection, respect. Simple but powerful.
Finally, Chapter 17. How to draw upon that higher power. Circling back to that central resource.
A culmination, really. Accessing divine strength and guidance is presented as always available.
The exhausted businessman advised to practice resting yourself in God, quoting Isaiah.
A call to find spiritual replenishment. Rely on that higher strength when your own runs out.
His second method. Positive attitude towards problems, quoting Matthew. According to your faith, be it unto you.
Directly linking mindset and faith to outcomes again, your belief shapes your experience.
He says, state the problem, ask for specific help, and believe you're receiving it. Very direct engagement.
An intentional, focused, faith-filled approach to seeking divine assistance.
The former editor and his wife seeking power for healing and hope.
Applying faith directly to health challenges, seeking both physical recovery and renewed spirit.
And ending with that powerful story of the alcoholic finding recovery through surrender to God, AA, the church.
A dramatic illustration of how turning one's life over to a higher power can lead to profound transformation and freedom from addiction.
His final question really sums it up. Why not draw upon that higher power? It's an invitation.
A direct challenge to the listener. This resource is available. Why wouldn't you explore it?
Wow. We've covered a lot, but really just scratched the surface of what's in the power of positive thinking.
It's so dense with stories and practical advice. We really do encourage you, if this resonates, to pick up a copy of the book. You'll find even more depth there.
Definitely. Read it for yourself, see what stands out to you, and, connect with others discussing these ideas. Look up Norman Vincent Peale's estate or related groups online on social media. Share your thoughts.
Because the real value isn't just reading it right, it's applying it. We challenge you. Take just one or two ideas we talked about today. Try integrating them into your week. See what happens.
Observe the impact. Let these ideas potentially enhance your own life, your well-being.
It's all about putting it into practice.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the power of positive thinking. We hope you found it valuable.
If you did, please follow and subscribe to the Playing Books podcast for more explorations like this one.
And please, share this deep dive with anyone you think might benefit from hearing about these ideas. Thanks for listening.